I swear I wasn't looking for an adult magazine in his desk. But that's exactly what I found. The bell had rung 10 minutes ago, and the classroom was dead quiet. Just the hum of the old AC in me. Killing time while coach finished yelling at some freshmen in the hall. It was college, but sometimes it still felt like high school with all the drama and team rituals. Out of boredom, I tugged open the desk beside mine. Noah's desk, the quiet kid. The one who never talks unless the teacher forces him. Inside was this battered sketchbook, edges all curled, pages stuffed full. I expected, I don't know, dragons or anime or whatever nerds draw. But the first page? My face. Like, not kinda me. Not some blonde guy who happens to look similar. Number. It was me. Sharp jawline. The scar on my chin from football. Even the stupid dimple I hate. It was too good. Too real. I laughed, flipping to the next page. Already planning to roast him later. Except the next drawing wasn't just my face. It was my body. And yeah, I mean all of it. I froze. My first thought was, holy shit, he's good. My second thought was, holy shit, that's my YK deal. Drawn in detail, angled like some Greek statue. Veins, lines, everything. Jesus Christ, I muttered, but my hand kept turning the page like I couldn't stop myself. More sketches, different poses. Me sprawled out, bent over, smirking, sweating. Every single one too accurate to be some guess. He'd studied me, memorized me. And then, words. Whole paragraphs scrawled in neat handwriting. Curiosity got the better of me. I read the first line out loud, a whisper in the empty room. Alan pushes me against the wall, his breath hot against my neck as he growls that I'm his now, no one else's. I blinked. My throat went dry. And instead of slamming the notebook shut like any sane person would, I kept reading. When I finally forced myself to stop, I shoved the notebook back into Noah's desk, exactly where I'd found it. It felt weird to put it back, like the bell hiding evidence at a crime scene, but I couldn't risk him noticing it was gone. The next day. I didn't sleep last night. Not really. Every time I shut my eyes, it was there again. The sketch of me sprawled across the page, the words about me pressing him against a wall, the way it felt reading them out loud when no one was around. My brain just replayed it on a loop. Toss, turn, stare at the ceiling. Try not to imagine what else was written in that notebook. Fail. By 6 a.m., I gave up. Showered. Threw on clothes. And for the first time in my life, I actually got to school early. Not for extra credit. Not for practice. For him. Noah. And when I finally spotted him walking across the courtyard with his backpack slung low, head down like always, something in my chest went tight. For the first time, I really saw him. Not just the nerd in the corner. He was tall, taller than I'd realized. Lean, wiry. His hair was messy in a way that looked stupidly good, like he'd rolled out of bed and didn't care. And his eyes, when he glanced up for half a second, caught the sunlight. Warm, honey brown. God, what the hell was wrong with me? Since when did I notice shit like that? I shook it off, jaw tight, and stalked forward. My sneakers squeaked against the linoleum as I cut him off by the lockers. He startled, just a flicker, then went back to unlocking his combo like I wasn't there. "Hey," I snapped, leaning in close so no one else could hear. "We need to talk." He glanced at me, calm as hell. "About?" I shoved the notebook into his chest. I'd swiped it again that morning, because yeah, I wasn't done with it. "This. You think this is funny? Writing sick crap about me? Drawing..." I dropped my voice, heat rushing to my ears. "Drawing me like that?" Finally. I expected him to go pale, stammer, beg me not to tell. But Noah just looked at me. Those calm eyes, steady and unbothered, like he'd been waiting for this exact moment. Then he smiled. Just barely. "I imagined you'd find out like this," he said softly. "You always do, in my stories." And walked right past me, leaving me standing there dumbfounded. And my whole chest clenched, like I'd walked straight into a trap I hadn't even known was there. Later that day, I had him cornered. Again. Arm slammed against the locker, glaring down like I was about to eat him alive. Throw it. Burn it. Whatever. Or I swear. But Noah didn't flinch. Didn't even blink. Instead, he tilted his head, eyes flicking to my arm, pinning him in place. Calm as hell. "Funny," he murmured. "That's exactly how you do it in Chapter 3. My stomach dropped. "What?" He leaned closer, voice low like a secret only meant for me. "You pin me just like this, except you're rougher, and you don't stop at threats." I froze. My whole body felt hot and cold at the same time. "You're sick, you know that?" "Maybe." He smirked, the quietest, cockiest smirk I'd ever seen. "Or maybe I just know you better than you know yourself." I shoved away from him like he'd burned me, but my head was spinning. The way he said it, it didn't sound like a bluff. It sounded like a dare. 2 days later. I thought ignoring him would help. Pretend it never happened. Pretend I hadn't read the words, seen the drawings, heard his voice whisper them back to me. But the more I tried, the worse it got. During practice, every time coach barked at me to push harder, I remembered a line from his story. Alan's muscles straining above me as he whispers softly. During math, I looked up from my notebook and saw Noah, head bent over his desk, lips parted slightly in focus. And all I could picture was him looking like that underneath me. I caught myself staring, more than once. By lunch, I was snapping at my friends, short-tempered and restless. My body wanted something I didn't even understand. My brain screamed, "What the hell is wrong with you?" But the rest of me craved it. Craved him. And when practice ended, I found myself lingering outside the library, watching Noah through the glass as he scribbled into that same damn notebook. Headphones in, like he was writing me again. I couldn't look away. 3 days later, I lasted 3 days before I cracked. 3 nights of tossing in bed, sweating, replaying his smirk at the lockers. 3 days of zoning out in class, imagining my hands on him the way he'd written. Finally, at midnight, I couldn't take it anymore. My legs moved on autopilot, dragging me across campus until I was standing outside his dorm. My heart pounded like I'd run a marathon, but my knuckles still rapped against his door. He opened it, hair mussed from sleep, wearing just a loose t-shirt and sweats. He looked surprised. No, not surprised. Expecting. I shoved past him into the room, slamming the door behind me. "What the hell did you write this time?" My voice came out low, almost a growl. Noah blinked, slow, like he was savoring the moment. Then he crossed the room, picked up the notebook from his desk, and held it out like an offering. "Read for yourself," he whispered. I snatched it, hands shaking, eyes darting over the fresh lines. And when I read the first sentence, Alan shows up at my door past midnight, desperate for more. My knees nearly gave out. A few minutes later, I flipped the notebook shut with a snap, shoving it hard against Noah's chest. My pulse was hammering, breath sharp. "This is insane," I spat. "You're insane. Who even does this? Writing creepy-ass fan fiction about some guy who doesn't even notice you? You're pathetic." Noah didn't flinch. He just tilted his head, watching me like I was performing exactly how he'd scripted. And maybe I was. I ran a hand through my hair, pacing. I could have anyone. Anyone. Girls throw themselves at me. Guys too, if I wanted. So why the hell? Why am I standing here looking at you when I should just walk out that door? Noah's lips curved, soft and knowing. Because your body doesn't lie the way your mouth does. And that's when I realized my fists were clenched. Not to hit, but to stop my hands from grabbing him. My chest was heaving, heat coiled low in my gut, hard and undeniable. This is stupid, I muttered. But then my hands were in his shirt, shoving him back against the wall. The kiss was violent. Teeth clashing, mouths open, both of us gasping like we'd been drowning. His lips were softer than I expected, his tongue sharp, confident. My body betrayed me completely. Pressing close, grinding into him, hungry for more. He moaned into my mouth, and the sound ripped through me. My hand slid into his hair, tugging hard, and his fingers dug into my back like claws. Hot, intense, desperate. I'd kissed people before, lots of people, but never like this. Never with my whole body trembling, every nerve on fire, my lungs dragging in ragged breaths between kisses. When we finally tore apart, panting, sweat sticking our foreheads together, Noah whispered, "Exactly like I wrote it." And instead of stopping, I kissed him again. Harder. The next day, practice had run late. Coach had us running drills until half the guys looked like they might puke. And by the time I hit the showers, everyone else had already cleared out. Steam clung to the air, water echoing off the tile. I moved slow, letting the heat work the ache out of my shoulders. Maybe if I scrubbed hard enough, I could wash Noah out of my head. Except I couldn't. Every drop sliding down my chest reminded me of the way he looked at me last night, eyes drinking me in like he owned me. Every stretch of muscle pulled up his words in my head. Alan's body glistening, mine trembling beneath him. I cursed under my breath, shutting off the water, towel slung around my waist. That's when the door squeaked open. "Noah," I blurted, more accusation than question. He stood there, hoodie, backpack, like he had any reason to be in a locker room after hours. His eyes dragged over me, slow, deliberate. My towel suddenly felt way too thin. "You shouldn't be here," I snapped. "No," he agreed. He dropped his bag by the bench, stepped closer. "But neither should you." At least, not the way I wrote it. My pulse jumped. "You're insane." He smirked faintly. "Probably. But you're not stopping me. I should have shoved him out. Should have grabbed my stuff and walked." Instead, I found myself frozen as he reached out. Fingers brushing my damp chest. Tracing the curve of muscle like he was checking how close the drawing had been. Heat shot through me. I caught his wrist, growling, "You can't just..." But then his lips were on mine. The clang of my back hitting the lockers was deafening. His kiss was urgent, hungry, his tongue pushing past my lips like he'd been waiting forever. My towel slipped, barely hanging on, and the panic of being caught tangled with the rush flooding my veins. Every sound echoed. Our gasps, the wet slide of lips, the dull thud when my fist hit the locker just to anchor myself. If anyone came back in, we were screwed. That thought should have stopped me. Instead, it made me kiss him harder. 2 days later, he upped the game. We'd both been walking out of chem when Noah brushed past me, slipping a folded scrap of paper into my hand. I uncrumpled it when no one was looking. Just 5 words, written neat. Room 207, 10 minutes. I told myself not to go. Swore I wouldn't. But 10 minutes later, there I was, shoving open the empty classroom door. Sunlight slanted through the blinds, dust motes spinning in the air. Desks lined up in perfect rows, chalk dust on the board. It smelled faintly of dry erase markers and old textbooks. And Noah, sitting on the teacher's desk like he belonged there, one leg swinging lazily, eyes locked on me the second I walked in. "What the hell are you doing?" I hissed, slamming the door shut behind me. "Writing new material," he said smoothly. "Needed inspiration." Before I could respond, he slid off the desk, crossed the room in 3 strides, and kissed me. Hard. I stumbled back into a desk, chair scraping across the floor. My heart thundered, panic spiking. People were in the hall just outside. Footsteps, laughter. If anyone tried the door, if anyone peeked through the little glass window. But Noah didn't care. He straddled my lap where I sat, lips fierce, hands gripping my hair. My own hands betrayed me, sliding down to his hips, pulling him closer. "You're insane," I panted between kisses. He bit my bottom lip, tugging it with his teeth before whispering, "And you're addicted." The word sent a shiver down my spine. Because he was right. Every noise outside the door made me kiss him harder. Like maybe I wanted to get caught. Like maybe I needed the risk. A week later. It was supposed to be a normal night. House packed, beer flowing, music rattling the windows. I was the center of it, as usual. People laughing at my jokes, slapping me on the back, girls leaning in too close. But even in the crowd, I felt restless. Like I was waiting for something. Someone. I slipped into the hallway for air, weaving past couples making out against the wall. The music dulled, bass still thumping through the floorboards. That's when I saw him. Noah leaned against the wall like he'd been waiting just for me. Plastic cup in hand. Expression calm but eyes sharp. When they met mine, my chest clenched. "This is crazy," I muttered, glancing around. "You can't just—" Before I finished, he grabbed my wrist and yanked me into the nearest door. A closet. The door slammed shut, plunging us into dark. Coats brushed against my shoulders, the faint smell of dust and fabric softener filling the tiny space. His breath was hot against my ear. "Funny," he whispered. "This is chapter 9. I should have shoved him away. But instead, I crushed my mouth to his, desperate. We kissed like animals. Teeth clashing, lips bruising, hands everywhere. My back hit the wall, coat hangers rattling, a jacket falling onto my head. I shoved it aside, dragging him closer, swallowing his moans. Then the door cracked open. Light spilled in, music flooding back, voices laughing just outside. I froze, heart in my throat. But Noah pressed his palm over my mouth, holding me still. His body ground into mine, his other hand sliding under my shirt while we both held our breath. The voices faded. The door clicked shut again, leaving us in dark silence. My heart hammered so loud it drowned out the music. Noah pulled his hand away, lips brushing my ear. "You liked that," he whispered, smug. I didn't even bother lying. I just dragged him back in for another kiss. Deeper, harder, needier than before. Later that night, I couldn't breathe after the party. The whole night played in my head on repeat. The closet, the door opening, that second of light spilling over us. One wrong move and everyone would have seen. The golden boy of campus caught in the dark with the quiet freak pressed against him. I should have been terrified. And I was. But the sick thing? Half of me wanted it. Half of me wanted the whole house to see. Just to know how badly I was wanted. I spent the night lying in bed, staring at the ceiling, stomach twisting. My lips were swollen from his kisses. My body still ached from how hard I'd clutched him. And all I could think was, this will ruin me. This will destroy everything. By morning, I'd made up my mind. I cornered him outside class, shoving him back against the wall, my voice a low growl. This ends now. Whatever sick game you're playing, I'm done. You nearly got us caught last night. I'm not risking everything for what? For him? My throat locked up. Noah just looked at me, calm as ever, honey brown eyes steady on mine. "You'll be back," he said softly. I shoved off him like his words burned. "No, I won't." But as I stormed off, my fists clenched and my heart racing, I already hated myself, because a part of me knew he was right. 2 days. That's how long I lasted. 2 days of avoiding his eyes in the hall, ignoring the way my chest pulled tight every time I saw him bent over that damn notebook. 2 days of pretending I wasn't waiting for him to slip me a note or whisper something that would drag me back. I thought I was in the clear. Until I opened my bag after practice and found it. A folded sheaf of paper tucked between my books. His handwriting on the first page. My stomach flipped. I should have thrown it away. I should have lit it on fire, flushed it, anything. Instead, I smuggled it back to my dorm like contraband, hands shaking, heart pounding. And then, like a junkie, I read. The first line knocked the breath out of me. Alan drags me into the closet at the party, our mouths crashing together, his body trembling when the door cracks open and someone almost sees us. Word for word, exactly what happened. Every gasp, every touch, every reckless second. My throat went dry. My chest caved in. If anyone ever read this, if he showed it to anyone, I was finished. But God help me, I couldn't stop. I devoured every word, eyes racing, body burning with the memories. The shame only made it worse. When I reached the last line, my hands were shaking so hard I almost dropped the pages. He swears he's done. But we both know he'll come back. He always does. I slammed the story shut, burying it under my pillow like it might burn me alive. And I hated him for it. I hated how much I wanted to go back for more. 3 days later, I didn't knock. I barged into his dorm like a storm, slamming the door behind me so hard the frame rattled. My pulse was out of control, my breath jagged. The pages were clutched in my fist, crumpled from how tight I'd been holding them. Noah didn't even look surprised. He was at his desk, legs crossed, pen in hand, as calm as if he'd been waiting. "Enjoy the story?" he asked without turning around. "Are you insane?" My voice cracked. I threw the papers onto his bed, the words I'd devoured, the words that could ruin me. "You wrote everything. Word for word. If anyone sees this, I'm finished." Finally, he swiveled in his chair, facing me. The faintest smirk tugged his lips. "No one's going to see it." "You don't know that." My fist shook. "You're playing with my life. My reputation. Everything I've worked for. Your mask," he cut in, quiet but sharp. "Your image. The role you play for everyone else. Tell me, Alan, when you were kissing me in that closet, were you thinking about your reputation, or were you thinking about me?" My chest heaved. I wanted to scream at him, shove him, do anything to wipe that knowing look off his face. But the truth was a knife in my throat. I hadn't been thinking of anything but him, his lips, his hands, his voice. And that terrified me more than exposure. I staggered back a step, shaking my head. "You're obsessed. You're trying to trap me." Noah stood, slow, deliberate, like a predator that didn't need to rush. He crossed the room until he was right in front of me, close enough that I felt his heat. "Maybe I am obsessed," he whispered, "but so are you." I opened my mouth to deny it, but his hand slid up my chest, palm flat against my hammering heart. My skin burned under his touch. "You came here," he said softly. "You brought my words into your room. You read them like they were oxygen. And now you're here because you don't want me to stop." I hated him. I hated how right he was. My breath broke. "You'll ruin me." "No," Noah said. His eyes locked on mine, honey dark and unwavering. "I'll make you real. No more pretending. No more lies. Just you and me, exactly like I wrote it." Silence stretched between us, thick as smoke. My fists clenched, trembling. I was drowning, half in terror, half in want. Then something inside me snapped. With a growl, I grabbed him by the shirt and crushed my mouth to his. The kiss was nothing like before. This wasn't desperation or risk or a stolen moment. This was surrender. My lips devoured his, my hands dragging him closer, my body finally admitting what my mouth had been too proud to say. He kissed me back like he'd been waiting all his life for this moment, fingers tangling in my hair, tugging until I moaned against him. We stumbled back toward the bed, knocking over his chair, papers scattering to the floor. My knees hit the mattress and we fell, tangled, breathless. Every gasp, every touch, every sound matched what I'd read in his stories. Except this time, it wasn't fantasy. This time, it was real. I hovered over him, panting, sweat dampening my hairline. His lips were swollen, his eyes blown wide, and still he smirked up at me. "Just like I wrote it," he whispered. For once, I didn't deny it. I bent down, pressing my forehead to his, my voice a rough growl. "Then keep writing. I'm not stopping." And for the first time, I wasn't scared of being ruined. I was terrified of stopping. A year later. It's been a year. A whole year since that first sketchbook flipped my world inside out. Now I'm standing in a too-stiff cap and gown, the sun beating down on the football field, pretending to listen to speeches I won't remember. My parents wave from the bleachers, teammates slap my back, and everyone thinks I'm the same guy I was when this all started. The golden boy. The untouchable Jock. But I'm not. Not anymore. Because across the field, Noah's leaning against the bleachers, tassel hanging over one honey-brown eye. Calm as ever. Not hiding. Not apologizing. He never really did. And somehow, it isn't a secret anymore. Somewhere along the line, people stopped whispering. Or maybe I stopped caring. He made me real. That's the only way I can explain it. All my life, I'd been performing. Louder, bigger, cockier than I actually felt. Like I had to keep living up to the version of me everyone thought they knew. And then he wrote me down. Page after page. Scene after scene. He showed me parts of myself I didn't even know existed. And then he made them real. We're not just his fantasies anymore. We're us. Still, sometimes I'll find a folded page slipped into my bag. The ink still fresh, his handwriting sharp and steady. A new scene, a new dare, a new way to test how far we'll go, and every damn time I find myself giving in. Because it started as his obsession, but now it's ours. The end. So tell me, is this love, or did Noah just write himself into Alan's life so deeply that Alan never had a choice? Thanks for watching. Subscribe to become part of our Rainbow Force, and consider joining our membership for early access and exclusive content. Stay wholesome.